disasters we identified is our contemporary and the past education, which is very challenging and also very difficult to do a good job of it. But we'll see that it is still possible to do interesting things, and we will take a example and also discuss these things. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the idea is building a robust, which is, when I say robust, a disaster-proof basic education system. Today, our education system is predominantly sensitive to market, particularly technical education. If IT companies don't do well, everybody is on the street. Why is it that so many youngsters who have energy and talent have to depend on somebody else for a job, particularly even worse after PhD? After PhD, you don't get a job. You're desperate to get a job somewhere. Most of the time, the job is bad in terms of salary, environment, management, administration, everything. Why is it that at the highest level of education, you actually find it very difficult to get a job? We'll see that. Yeah. So we were looking at making information communication technology very relevant, not just some software coolie jobs. Okay. So we wanted ICT to look at human resources, capable of looking at tasks for poverty alleviation, quality of life improvement, equitable and cost-effective justice, etc., and all that. Okay. This was a UGC program that I got in 2007, and many of these things that I did there is of NEP. So what are the features of this education system? The features of this education system is, first thing, is very liberal. That is, any bachelor's degree holder was allowed to join. So there was no distinction between professional, non-professional courses. There was no distinction between arts and science. So it was an experimental program where we had both Kannada medium and English medium students, BA and BCom. We also had engineering students. So everybody was taken after their graduation. It doesn't matter whether it was a 3-year graduation, 4-year graduation, a 5-year graduation after medical also. The feature of this education program was it was very diverse. It had field work, it had laboratory. We studied economics, we did sociology, we did sustainable development, social work, information communication technology, environment, and software subjects. Okay. The most important part of this was it was very intense education. See, our education is a joke. People are all, most of the time, they don't come to the first hour. 5 days in a week, continue not held. Somewhere or the other, there is disturbance. Everybody is waiting for somebody to die so that there is a holiday. If there is no holiday, somebody will come with some protest and disturb the class. Okay. So there is large number of non-academic agenda which runs the education system now. Okay. So it was very intense. 3-semester courses, 2 summer terms. For example, the summer vacation of 2.5 months, only 15 days vacation was given. We had a credit and a coursework plus skilling for 2 months in summer also, plus 2 winters of skilling. 1 month holiday between 2 semester breaks. Only 1 week holiday was given. 3 weeks of skilling was done. See, doing skilling during the course hours is very difficult because you have 5 different subjects. you have languages, you have other subjects. Skilling is very, very intense. It must be focused so that at the end of it, people start doing things. Okay. And very experimental. Lot of experiments were done because we don't know which student likes what and what works with whom. Because sometimes you try something, it doesn't work. Maybe the next batch of students, it would have worked. Because it didn't work with one batch, you don't do it for the rest of your life. Education is an act of continuous experiments and refinement. In fact, everyday curriculum should be changed. You should try to improve every day during the course of an year. Okay. Plenty of innovations and novelty was done. We'll come to that. And this was a credit breakdown. All of it had interesting either tutorials or labs. And in 2 years, we had approximately 200 credits. Very intense. What normally gets done in a higher education system in 2 years, we were able to do it in 1 year because you can keep students active. See, one of the most important thing why students are not interested in learning is they are made to sit within the classroom and made to listen to somebody. I'm not saying classes should not be held. The classes should be absorbing to them in the sense that they should be involved with it, which means if they spend half an hour in the class, they will know that they will spend 2 hours on that outside the class. 4 times involvement should be there outside the class because very little learning happens inside the class. You complete a syllabus, which mostly the syllabus is either useless or outdated. Okay. So this is the problem with contemporary education, particularly college education. So a lot of things that NEP now does and will do later is already done. Okay. First thing, all exams and tests were open book, which means 2 things. Students need to have studied the book once or twice at least, minimum 2. Actually, they must study 3 or 4 times before they write a test, which means they will study the textbook at least 3 or 4 times in the semester. Your students don't even study a textbook even in their whole course because they depend on some notes or some guide and that's it. Okay. And so what happens when you give open book test, you must make sure that every student has a copy of the book because books are very expensive. Good books are expensive. Please, please.
करोडो बंगले 5 बंगले 4 गाड्या 10 प्रॉपर्ट्या करून ठेवलेली माणसं 60 वर्षानंतर त्यांची मुलाखत घ्या आता कसं वाटतं तुम्हाला तर ते
रवींद्र दाले.
Yeah. So very interesting is you have various editions of the book. Normally today, very good books, latest edition is very expensive. But the previous edition, which is almost 90% of the present edition, which is good enough for our students, most of them are available freely downloadable. PDF versions are there. So what we did was we designed this curriculum based on freely available high quality books so that every student will have a copy of it. They cannot say, I cannot afford or I don't have it. Both answers were solved. Everybody was given a copy of that book. Plus, it was free. So they cannot say that they cannot afford it. And we also did interesting things that most of the exams, tests, had only compulsory questions. Because we had Kannada medium, English medium, all mixture. In 1 or 2 subjects, we gave one question choice. That is answer 5 out of 6. But in most tests and exams, 5 questions were given, all 5 had to be answered. So when you don't give a choice, they learn everything or they had to read everything. When you give a choice, units or whatever, they are very clever. They know how to study only 30% of it and pass. So all students have book on PC. So there was computer for everybody. Everybody had a screen where all the books all the books used were kept there. They had extensive use of internet. So even during the exam, they could refer the internet and write the answer, because that also tells them for interesting questions, how to find answers and how to locate answers. That's very important. Today, if you don't give questions which are already taught in the class, most of them don't answer anymore, okay? In addition, we had seminars, workshops, field trips, which are part of the course. Very interesting seminars, workshops, everything was done. We also had residential workshop in a rural setting so that people understand real India, not IIM and IITs, okay? And tremendous amount of academic reforms. All students are given the customized option of self-study course of 2 subjects in the program with maximum of 1 per semester, meaning it is beyond choice-based credit system. Choice-based credit system is a diluted version of this. This is a system where a student can study 1 subject every semester of his or her choice, which is not even in the listed curriculum. Some girl wants to study Bharatnatyam because somebody wants to study folk music. So every student was given 1 choice of any subject they want, and it was our responsibility to find a teacher and mentor the student to learn that. In fact, only 1 student opted that, okay? There was a summer term course on entrepreneurship and leadership. Both are important. See, we are all followers. All of you are unhappy with your administration and other things but you follow them. Suppose you were a leader, you would have either changed it or created a new system. And when you are an entrepreneur, you don't depend on others for your livelihood. So once you don't depend yourself on livelihood for others and you are a leader, you will actually become very creative. Okay. So this was done in summer because this is too important to be done in a regular semester. So we did it in summer with examination having 50% oral component and a customized question paper for each of the student, meaning somebody with BA Kannada medium and somebody who was an engineering student, both had different question papers in the same subject, depending on their background. So this is exactly how we need to evaluate students. Students have their own liking and disliking. They have their own interests. They have their own background from which either they take advantage or they are disadvantaged. All this has to be overcome. Okay. In fact, I had a question paper, 6 different question papers in the same subject. So there was no need to even do invigilation because nobody could copy from anybody. The most difficult problem of copying was already eliminated. And now you can do it. You can actually set different question papers for students who are sitting side by side. And if they copy, they actually lose more marks. Very easy to do today. Okay. Winter term skilling exercises are done, keeping the students academically active about 300 days a year. This is very important. Why is it that students do very well when they are in Harvard or MIT or Stanford, all that? Because they are kept busy 340 to 350 days a year.
वो भी इसे अभी हो ना उसकी बता रहा था ये दफ्तर में ये पूरा गली देखेंगे क्या भी लिया केंद्र हाँ बोलता बोलता वो क्या उसे क्या उसके दिमाग
यार पढ़ते हैं
See, if you keep your students, you keep them probably 10 days a year academically active, which is one day before the exam each semester. Otherwise, they are not active academically. They just come and sit, follow something and while away their time. Keeping them academically active does not mean you keep them in the classroom. You keep them engaged with the subject and activities. That's why NEP is good, because NEP focuses a lot on activities. And I'm telling you, doing activities is the only way to get them interested and learn well. And it's also very difficult. It's not easy. Very good quality things can be done. As I say, our current curriculum and education is very poor quality. What is interesting is, first thing, you must have good books. I'm not saying all foreign author books are good. Even Indian author books are very good. But you must have good books for teaching. For example, I had many books from Amartya Sen, Mohammad Yunus, all that. And in few cases, there was one Swiss person in Switzerland whose book was very good, but very expensive. So I wrote to him. I'm saying our students are all economically very poor or just functional. We cannot afford your books, but your books are very good. Can you make some arrangement for this? You know what? He simply said, I will give you my soft copy of the book, PDF form. You share it with your students, use it, and please give me feedback after using so that I can incorporate these changes in my next edition. So actually, if you try well, you will get all the resources that you want. You can't complain that there are no resources. We also had very good board of studies with two young students of mine from Germany and USA, because I wanted them in the board of studies to oppose university teachers who are not interested in anything good other than coming and sitting, taking sitting fees. This is the problem. Your academic administration is one of the world's worst. And particularly the syllabus committee and all is filled with gundas and vulgar people who have nothing to do with education, but they are there. That's the problem, okay? We also had excellent lab with internet facility. Our style of teaching was whiteboard, PPT, lot of internet and lot more of reading. For example, why students had to learn was they had to read. Only way to learn was to read, because what was not taught in the class would come for the test questions. Very clear, I told. I am not doing this portion. I have done the beginning of that. The end of it I have not done, but that will be in the test. So you start reading on your own and learning. If you have doubts, you come to me. So learning by oneself, learning to learn is the main purpose of education. Not completing syllabus. That anybody can do, okay? So we had a lot of discussion, practical case studies as the mode of learning, not just lectures. Self-learning and incremental learning, 20% of the syllabus was learning by themselves or learning little beyond what was taught. It promotes learning to learning skill, which is the most important skill. See, if you learn how to learn by yourself, that's the purpose of education. You can go beyond degrees, you can go beyond anything as long as you know how to learn by yourself. Reading and comprehension skills, very important. How to read and how to comprehend. And experiential learning. So what you have learned, can you experience it? Only then there is a conviction and a clarity about what was taught. And of course, a rare thing that I did was allowed student to participate in board of studies meeting. so that students also know how we were planning what to teach them. They also gave very good feedback. They said, if you are including this subject, either change the teacher or change the subject. Very good feedback students give, because students are not interested in politics. They are interested in learning. Okay. So we progress quite a lot. Ability of teachers' time to students is significant, and number of other issues sorted by faculty. So we were mentoring. We were mentoring by understanding their family background, their needs. In fact, for 2 students, I paid the fees in advance, later arranged a scholarship so that they could pay back. So many things. In fact, all the students got scholarship. Okay. We also did interesting things. We were talking of rural development. So we actually ended up doing a workshop on rural development in a rural area. And this is the inauguration. Okay. This is the chief guest. Chief guest is interesting. He was 85-year-old rural worker, Sarvodaya leader, who was also in his younger days personal assistant to Jaiprakash Narayan. Okay. And you can see the inauguration cost only 20 rupees. This banner cost 20 rupees. You spend all the money on inauguration, giving bouquet and this thing to some fellow who comes as chief guest. He has nothing to do with education. You should spend all the money on resource person and on food for children. Don't spend money on VIPs and other things. Okay. This is the first of the seminar. And you can see we had no screen. So on the wall itself, we projected. The projector is here on the chair. People are sitting here. What is important is not how good your seminar room is, but how good the resource person is. This is Mulgan from University of Maryland. He was lecturing on global warming, and he had to complete a lot. So he did about 8 hours in 2 days. So residential workshop, we gave food and very good food. Accommodation was dormitory accommodation covered by the course. Okay. The other daytime was taken up by this Dr. Puneet Singh from from Karlsruhe, Germany. So you can see here the student sitting on Jamkhana on the floor, and he is explaining how to deliver technology to rural areas. Okay. So the most money that was spent was on the food for people. Everything functional, exceedingly good resource person. You will be surprised where these people are now. Mulgan is a professor in Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Puneet is a professor in Indian Institute of Science now. You get all jokers, all useless people you call as chief guest and as resource person. That is the problem. Students know very well that you just want an activity. You don't want them to learn. This is the seminar hall. Okay. So this is the style with which the academic program went. And I'll give you further examples. For example, the field work done was in this place. This place is called Timbuktu. It is just after Penukonda. So on the Karnataka-Andhra border, it's about 200 kilometers from Bangalore, about 300 kilometers from Mysore, where we were running this program. So this place, you see, this denuded hill, you also see thick vegetation here. You will also see some houses, thatched roof houses. This is the small community which lives here, and these are residential places, dormitories. This is the school, and you can see a lot of greenery where there is no greenery here. This is about approximately 10 square kilometers. All this forest you see now here is actually built, grown by students of the school. Primary school children have grown a forest here, and you can also see forest path, Kaldari forest path here. There are no roads, there are no piped water supply, there is no electricity here. You will also see a small valley here with a lake. Because of this forest, this lake now has water. The last time this lake had water was 70 years back. Now, because of the forest grown by children, wildlife has come here. But I had gone here, I spent some time here. I met an old man who said when he was young, he was swimming in the lake. And in the last 70 years, there is no water, but now water has come back because of this forest grown by children. Okay. This is the entrance to that village where it has a school. I'm coming to that. So live simply so that others may simply live. Don't have this VIP culture. See, today education department doesn't have money for students' activity, but it has lot of money for functions where VIP, ministers, MLAs, others are called. Utter disgust. This is the problem with UGC and others. They all have money for VIPs. They have no money for students, not much money for teachers. How else do you expect education to improve them? And the man who ran this school, and you can see how bad it's semi-whitish, very difficult terrain to grow anything. And this is Dr. Subbaraju. Please remember, he is a B.Tech IIT Madras, M.Tech IIT Bombay, PhD IIT Bombay, working as a primary school teacher on a salary of 2,000 rupees per month, which many of us friends were giving. He was actually working free there. All of you are now worried about 7th pay, 8th pay. You are not worried what is happening to your students. So Subbaraju wanted electricity lights. There is no electricity here. So he said, he asked me whether I can provide electricity to them, lights and other things. So I took my student from this group and he designed this electricity. You can see here, this is a light at the top of a tree, and only this part is electronics. This bamboo and everything is grown locally. You also had lights along the forest path. You can see here, the whole lamp is bamboo except this portion. So you see, this holder is bamboo. The support is bamboo. Only this part is electronics. This is the highest quality light at the lowest cost because all this bamboo is grown here. And you will also see interesting on the side of the path, you will see some vegetables being grown in patches. So this is a 20 feet by 20 feet patch. And you can see this is brinjal being grown here. Okay. What is interesting in this school is when children join this school, they are given, each child is given a 20 feet by 20 feet plot where the child is taught how to grow vegetables. That's why you will see all the plots, children grow vegetables. Children are slowly taught how to grow vegetables from nursery. What is interesting is, when the children grow vegetables, these vegetables are collected by school, put in a weighing scale, and measured what is the weight of which variety of vegetable. That vegetable is bought by the school for the afternoon midday meal program, and every child has a vegetable passbook where against the child's name, which vegetable was bought by the school on which day, what was the weight of it, and what is the value of it in money. And every month, at the end of the month, the total collection of the child is put in a post office bank account, which is 24 kilometers away from here. That is the nearest post office to this place. In a place called Channakottapalli, there is a post office where all the school children have a bank account, post office bank account, and the money for growing the vegetables is put there. And not only that, since the children after working hours and in the morning, they move around here. This is the school complex, this is the school complex, this is the residential area. They move around.
ಅದೇ ಇದು ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಮನೆ ತುಂಬಿದ್ರೆ
ಹೇಳ್ತಂತಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಈಗ ನಾನು 3 ಪೇಪರ್ ಅದಾವ ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟ್ಸ್ 4 ಅಂದ್ರೆ 4 ಅವರ್ಸ್
ಏ ಅಪ್ಪ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ ಯಾರೇ ಅಪ್ಪ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ರಿ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್.
See, you are about to hear the greatest miracle of education, and you are so busy with stupid things that you do every day. How many of you in your life have done 1/10 of what these people have done? You take a fat salary. This is your problem. Even when miracles is shown before you, you don't know how to recognize it, because you have been recognizing lot of garbage and stupidity all your life. So since students move around so much here, this is a forest area, lot of cattle come for grazing. What is interesting is, these students, you have to fertilize this. So students also spend time collecting cattle dung, cow dung and cattle dung in the forest, and putting it here, which is also weighed. So you have a cow dung passbook also, cattle dung passbook for children. So children every day not only grow food, collect manure, earn money for vegetables, earn money for fertilizer, learn how to grow vegetables. I don't think there has been any school like this anywhere in the world. This is the kind of, I'm not saying you do this only. This is the kind of system which encourages everybody to learn well, live well, eat well. Therefore, they have no other problems of equality and equity. Okay. So I asked my student, Joy, to go and do the lighting for them. This is the dormitory for girls. These are the school children. And you can see just by the side of the school, there are creepers. These are all vegetable creepers. So not an inch of land is wasted. Everybody is busy, productive work. Our students spend all their time on stupid movies, IPL, some nonsense. Lot of our urban children are spoiled because they spend all their time on stupid things. If you spend time on purposeful things, there is no problem. So these are the children. Most are children of agricultural laborers. Some are orphans, because this is also a Naxal infested area. So I sent Joy to do the lighting for them. Joy designed this. A very interesting design, which most engineering students also will not do. In fact, this design got an international award because there is a very interesting thing. You'll see this white dome. Below that is this lamp. This lamp will drive this circuit, which will produce lights in this lamp and in this lamp. How it produces light is interesting because this is a thermal sensor. There is nobody in the forest to switch on light and move around. For example, children move around here at odd hours. Okay. And in winter by 4:30 it gets dark. There are leopards, there are snakes, plenty of snakes, very large 6-inch, 8-inch long scorpions. So to avoid that, they wanted light. If you give light, they can work for longer hours, safely navigate. So light was a priority, and these are the kind of lights that was designed. And what is very interesting is this light works on thermal sensor, which means the light will be, there is a switch for the light. The light switch is on when some human body is 6 feet away from that. It will sense the body heat and turn on. And when the human body is more than 6 feet away, it will turn off. So when do you have human body here? Only when people are walking. Only when they are 6 feet before a lamp is on, so that as they walk, the path is fully lit. Otherwise, it is dark. So it also saves energy. With one battery, we could give 6 lamps, which normally takes only 2 lamps. And Joy got the award for this design. And there were a lot of interesting things we did eventually. So what NEP is now trying to do or attempting to do, we had already done better things in 2007, 2009. We continue to do reforms and experiments is very important. Interdisciplinary is real disciplinary. You want discipline in your students, get them to become interdisciplinary. Field work is a reality, which means you don't expect much sitting inside the classroom. They must get exposed to the real world. Outreach is a must. You must reach out to other people. For example, the rural farmers, the children of destitutes, whatever, okay? Very important is earn while you learn. Everybody should be given the option of earning while they are learning. Then they will learn something which gives them livelihood. They are comfortable with the learning because they are earning for it. And because they are earning for their learning, they will learn something very well. Very important. You customize the curriculum and include lot of localization factors. For example, this, you'll see what kind of skills there. You see these lamps here. You have a woodworking lathe there in the school where class 5 students and above cut the bamboo which is grown around in the forest. They make these lamps and sell these lamps to nearby villages on Saturdays and Sundays. So class 5 students are entrepreneurs. So there are a lot of activities like this where children earn while they learn and they make products after they have learned well. Tailoring, lot of other skilling like this. Whatever is needed in all the villages around 20-kilometer radius of this, all those skills people learn well here. So that when they finish the schooling, they are self-employed. Nobody goes to go and look for a job. If you want to sustain well, class 10 is enough. You can't study higher education. What will you do after that? 1 in 100 will get a job in as a faculty or something. Other 99, what will they do? So it's very important to give them sufficient skill so that if they don't want to learn or study further, they must be gainfully employed. So class 5 and 6 students are entrepreneurs there. Okay. Action knowledge reinforces confidence and relevance. This is very important. Why is it that people ask for a job? Because they are not confident of doing things on their own. They are solely dependent. And this dependency increases. At class 10, if you quit, you will do something. After you do degree, you want some job. After you do master's degree, you are desperate for a job. After PhD, you will fall at somebody's feet for a job. This is what is happening. The more you get educated, the more dependency comes in, because this education is all within the classroom. It has no skill component. It has no relevance. So what are these people doing now? Joy, who was a student, is now Dr. Joy. He is a faculty at Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, Pune. After this, he spent 6 years in Indian Institute of Science and 2 years at Stockholm. Then he became a faculty in Pune. And as I told both Subbaraju, Puneet finished his PhD in Germany. He's the only second person in the history of Indian Institute of Science to be invited to come and join as faculty. He's a professor there now. And Deepak is a professor in Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. So it's very important that you start becoming practical and get connected to reality. In fact, nobody in Bangalore, in IISc or in IIM know more about India and people of India and other issues than Deepak and this thing. They may have more papers, but they have no idea what the world is. Okay. The school is no more the prime activity. Entrepreneurship and women and agricultural empowerment has taken priority, because now there are 4 or 5 small scale industries now, all related to agriculture and skilling out of the school. So millet processing, they're growing millets, women entrepreneurship, everything has started now. And one of the reasons was because Subbaraju passed away in 2014. And thus ended one of most amazing experiments in education in recent India. And it became so popular that so many people abroad wanted to come. In fact, I know people from Oxford and Cambridge have come there as interns, student internship. There's a long list of people wanting to come and spend time in Timbuktu. So our students want to go abroad, but those abroad students in Cambridge and Oxford want to come here and learn. So if you do interesting things, the whole world will look at you. If you don't do anything interesting, you will have to look at the world and wonder what is going on, where you want to go, where you fit in, what kind of opportunities you get. Okay. So this is some idea of what it is. You have any questions or discussion items, we can take it, because we can combine both sessions and do this. The slides will